Your cards don't need more embellishments, they need better layers. Layering is what makes a card go from cute to custom, and Spellbinders figured this out over a decade ago with dies that still hold up today. If your card ever looks a little off, maybe your layers aren't lining up or something just feels unfinished, you're not alone. Most beginners don't realize that layering is a skill, and there's a shortcut: layout dies. I've been making cards for years, and the sets I reach for the most are still my original Spellbinders dies, especially the card creator sets. No trimming, no math, no wasted cardstock. They literally are designed to make your life easier, and they still work with everything you already have in your stash. In the comments, someone asked me to explain how Spellbinders dies work, so this is my attempt to give it a go. Hi, I'm Jeannie Scott. Welcome to the Upper Craft Room, where we make a mess and create something beautiful out of it. Before we go over how these dies function, we're going to go over each of the families and what each family does. So here we have the Nestabilities, the Shapeabilities, the Card Creators, and we have the Die Delights. And then last but not least, we have the Grand Nestabilities. Now, Spellbinders is phasing the system out, and they have a new system which we will go over, but these are still in circulation, so they're worth going over. So these are your basic shapes. These are your circles, your ovals, rectangles, then your deckled edge rectangles. You have your decorative edge dies. You have your scalloped ovals. Like I said, they're just basic shapes. Look at that. We have diamonds, and we have hearts and flower pots and flowers. And what these do is these nest inside of each other, but they are not your A2 or A7 full-size card panels. These are not ideal for background layering or card bases or any layout that depends on an exact card size. So my tip for these is to use these on top of your card layers for sentiment, die cut focal points, or clean shape accents. Spellbinders changed how they label their dies, and I know it's confusing. Some are still sold as Nestabilities on sites like Amazon and Walmart, but you'll find the same ones in new packaging on Spellbinders' site. I'm going to help you try to make sense of it. Now I'm pulling out the large oval set and the small oval set from the Oval's basic die sets within the Nestability family. And by the way, this is how I store my dies. I put them all on a magnet inside of pockets, and then when I cut pieces, I put them inside the pockets as well. Now you're going to notice on the packaging, when I store these, I cut up the packaging, and you're going to notice on the packaging we have measurements. I keep that piece, that way I know each of the measurements of all the circles, or ovals rather, that are inside the package. And then on the front of the package, this tells me exactly what the package name is, how many dies are in the set, as well as with what family it goes with. So I thought it would be a good idea for you to visually see how some of these die sets work together within the Nestability family. They don't all work like this, but a lot of them do. So I cut out the pieces from the small oval set and cut out the pieces from the large oval set. And you're going to see how these are going to come together to complement one another. And Nestabilities are now called cutting dies. And I don't know if I told you or not, but these are the basic classic oval die sets, small and large. All right, so I'm going to put both of these together and see how they nest inside of each other. They go from largest to smallest, or smallest to largest, however you look at it. And then the pink set, I'm going to put that together as well, so you can see how these come together. And you're going to notice that they have about 1/4 of an inch of a border around them. But if you take the large black piece, the largest black piece, and the largest pink piece from the small set, the largest black piece from the large set, and the small piece from and then you just go smaller and smaller, you're going to see how they fit together, and now they're about 1/8 inch of a border apart. It's really kind of cool how these all work together. All right, so this is an A2 size card, and as I was saying, card layer, and as I was saying, these are not created as standalone, but you can use them as focal points on your card bases or card layers. Next up, we're going to talk about shapeability. Formerly known as shapeabilities, these are your decorative and detailed elements: lace, borders, filigree, ornate frames, and flourishes. Think of them as your card's jewelry. They're now part of the Spellbinders general cutting dies category, but you'll still see the old shapeabilities name on some packaging, and many of the same styles are still available in newer collections. Now it's time to take a look at how we would use these dies. I'm going to grab an A2 size panel and pull out one of the sets from the Shapeabilities family, now known as cutting dies. But if you look If look them up on Amazon, they're still available as a shapeability, but you won't find them on the Spellbinders website. Take the Aster flower toppers from the Lisa Horton collection. You can stack them for extra dimension or use them as individual elements to highlight key areas on the layout. You can stack these to nest into a full dimensional bloom or use them individually for subtle accents. And those centers, though, oh my gosh, aren't those gorgeous? This set is so versatile and it gives you so many options. Some sets like these may be officially retired, but this set's still available on Amazon, so don't give up on them just yet. And they might still be available under a different category on the Spellbinders site or pop up with new packaging in future releases. Do a quick search by name or check similar die styles under the cutting dies or collection sections, especially if you're trying to match something that you've seen in a tutorial. And if we look at elegant labels, these are sized to work with both A2 and A7 cards, depending on which die you choose from the set. That's the kind of flexible design these detailed dies are known for. They are known for adding flair, texture, and elegance, layering on top of simple mats, and framing sentiments with style. These are not ideal for base layers. However, these decorative dies can fit standard card dimensions, but that's not their primary design intent. They're meant to layer on top of standard bases, adding detail, not forming the structure. Some sets do include labeled frames or decorative rectangles sized for A2 or A7 cards, like the elegant labels. But as I said, those are exceptions, not the rule. My tip: use these when your cards need a wow moment. Even one flourish can completely change the feel of your layout. And this brings us to Die Delights. The Die Delights are small themed dies for bite-sized accents like cupcakes, florals, sentiments, etc. You'll still find the Die Delights on the Spellbinders site, but many are sold in older packaging and some are already being marked discontinued. Spellbinders hasn't made an official announcement, but signs point to this line being phased out. So if you do love these, now's the time to grab them. And keep in mind, some of these styles may return as part of future collections, not under the original Die Delights name. Now these are best for cute scenes or themed cards and embellishing clean layouts. These are not, obviously, card bases or card structure. My tip is think of these like stickers or embellishments. They shine when paired with older layers like card creator dies, where they can add personality without competing for space. Next up, Grand Nestabilities. These are discontinued, but they are larger versions of the Nestabilities. Great for scrapbookers and oversized cards. These are discontinued by Spellbinders, but you can still find some sets on Amazon and other online retailers, most likely until existing stocks run out. These are not ideal for A2 card makers. These do not fit in your standard die cutting machines. My tip is to skip these unless you're working on something big. These are collector pieces now. And finally, the family of card creators. Card Creator is still active and available from Spellbinders. These dies are built to cut perfectly sized mats for full card fronts, like A2, A7, or 6x6. With ideal matting intervals already baked in, Matting Basics A and B are currently listed and in stock. I will leave all of those links below to everything that's still available, whether it's on Amazon or Spellbinders. So these card creators are best for creating card fronts and matting layers without measuring. My favorite. So these are for quick, professional looking layout foundations and for batching cards efficiently. My tip is to use Matting Basics layers A and B together for perfectly spaced 1/8 inch layering. No guessing, no trimming. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful world. There's no math. And let's not forget about border dies. Border dies are also part of the Card Creator family, and they're perfect for framing panels, dividing sections, or adding structure without needing full mats. This set may not be available, but I'll link similar sets below. Okay, next up is collections, so let's talk about collections. This is where Spellbinders brings everything together in one place, and it's the updated system and where everything is moving. Collections are the new home for what used to be separate die families. Instead of buying a base set here or a decorative set there and a sentiment somewhere else, now they come grouped together so they layer beautifully and make sense out of the box. And here's what that actually means. Matting dies inside of a collection often do the job of Nestabilities or Card Creator sets. They give you those clean layers to build on your card. Detailed dies, think lace, frames, borders, These are the descendants of Shapeabilities. And then your focal point pieces like Florals, word dies, or shaped icons carry the purpose of die delights, but are often more refined and easier to layer now. So all those roles, well, they're still there. They're just renamed, regrouped, and designed to flow better. Okay, so let's take a look at the Spotlight Frames and Florals collection by Lisa Horton. First off, we have the stitched edged circle backgrounds. This acts like your base mats. Think like Card Creator, or it does the job of like a Nestability. Next up, we have the woven lattice texture. This is an intricate, detailed layering die. Think like a shapeability function. And then we have your layered, I can never say this right, your layered anemone and your layered iris dies. These are standalone dimensional florals. Think like Die Delights style. And then you have your sentiments and your decorative layers. So these are finishing details to tie it all together. And lastly, in this set, you will have your better press plate, but that's a discussion for another day. That's a whole different system and comes with this set. You don't always get a better press plate with every collection, but it did come in this collection. So when you use them as a group, they stack beautifully and you know exactly what role each one plays. This is the fastest way to build cohesive, balanced cards without guessing or overbuying. You're not looking at random dies anymore. You're using a system. If something looks familiar from a past product line, there's a good chance it's been repackaged into a collection. And if not, there's probably something in a collection lineup that does the same job, but better. Collections are where Spellbinders quietly move the best of each of old die family. So if you love the way those older systems worked, this is your shortcut. Now that you know how these categories actually work and how Spellbinders has woven them into their collections, you don't have to second guess your layouts anymore. You can spot what you need, layer with confidence, and finally finish a card that feels balanced from the first cut to the final flourish. And if you want a shortcut to get there faster, start with tools that do the layering for you. So if your cards don't look the way that you think they should in your head, it's not your talent, it's your tools. And these dies are the ones that I wish I had when I started. Check out the Spellbinders layout dies, especially the Card Creator sets. They'll change how you build cards forever. Like this video if it helped you finally make sense of layering dies, and I sure hope it did, because this one was a true labor of love. Subscribe for more beginner-friendly tutorials, and don't forget to tap the bell so that you never miss a tip that makes card crafting feel easier and more fun. I'll see you in the next video.